like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto episode 150 review. Alright guys, this episode is definitely a very good one. A lot of people were really anticipating this, but of course the big blood is going to be the next episode, episode 151, and I will try my best not to talk about episode 151, but it's going to be a very difficult task. Now in this episode, we finally get to see Boruto have more of a serious tone. We understood the serious tone mainly because the Boruto writers pretty much laid everything out in front of us. They had the feudal lord basically talking about how his son was actually kidnapped and the mujina bandits were somehow involved. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys recognize this, but I just wanted to point this out. Whenever Boruto's friends are in trouble, it's like he goes into straight LeBron mode in game 6 versus the Celtics. It's like a switch gets flipped and he's completely serious now. But if he's just out on a random mission, if he's trying to do something for somebody else, it's like he doesn't even care. And I think you kind of got the understanding of where Boruto weighs the importance of a mission versus a friend in this episode. Now, even though I do want to point this out, Tentou was definitely a prior mission, and because Tentou wasn't necessarily safe, you could kind of argue that Boruto thought that the last mission was not really done, but still you kind of get to see where Boruto's conscience is weighed. It's more on friends and not on mission. So I think whenever Boruto's trying to protect a friend, he's probably going to be a lot more serious. Now I do want to point this out. I have to kind of criticize Boruto on that decision. I know some of you guys, or a lot of you guys, are going to disagree, but I think Boruto should have went on the B rank mission. Now of course, plot wise, this was a very good idea, man, because the next episode is supposed to be absolutely amazing. But regardless, I think in terms of a mission versus saving a friend, or a friend that was on a prior mission or something like that, I think you should always go towards the new mission, and especially a mission like this, which is a B rank mission where you're probably, even if you have all three, it's probably going to be a very difficult mission. Now you're just pretty much abandoning your team to go on another mission or to go help out another friend that, albeit, is in dire need of help. In my opinion, I think I would have probably just told Naruto, this is what's happening, this is what you should do, or I would have probably tried to hire out Mailman, because the feudal lord basically said that he didn't want to tell Naruto. I'd have probably tried to tell Shigadai, Yonojin, and somebody else to try and save Tentou, but really anything but abandoning my team. But of course it is Boruto, him being super impulsive, you understand his heart is always in the right place, but I'd have probably just chose a different thing. And of course some of you guys might have chose Boruto's side as well. I'm completely fine with both, but you guys know which one I would prefer. Now a lot of YouTubers, and of course a lot of the fan base after the last episode, has been talking about the Sarada scene when Boruto pretty much rolled up on Sarada and told Sarada like, hey, I can't really go on the mission. In the manga, this right here was extremely controversial, mainly because Sarada was wearing her pajamas, and a lot of people thought that it made Sarada seem too over sexualized, and the anime completely changed that out. Now that wasn't the big part about that scene that I'm really interested in, but just to give my opinion about it real quickly, I think that this right here is the upside of the anime and having the manga go first, mainly because they can kind of test things out in the manga, and if they don't really think it's appropriate, or if the fans like it, or if the fans want a redo, they can pretty much redo it in the anime and pretty much have the anime the top tier and the #1 in terms of the perfected product that the Boruto writers do actually put out. So I applaud them for making the change, and I applaud them for pretty much reading the room and understanding that Sarada should be wearing something a lot more appropriate in a scene like that. But the biggest part of that scene that was actually cut out was like the last part of the scene, where it pretty much made it seem like Sarada really liked Boruto. And of course, for the Boruto Sarada shippers out there, this right here was a big disappointment for a lot of you guys, because we don't necessarily have that concrete evidence in the anime that, hey, Sarada actually likes Boruto. Now I'm not necessarily going to tell you guys word for word to pretty much point everything out. It was really clear that Sarada actually liked Boruto, and it just didn't seem like that in the anime. But now me personally, putting my theory glasses on, I think that Sarada's probably going to end up with Kawaki, but for the people who really want Sarada to end up with Boruto, this right here was like a big slap in the face, and I personally would have probably wanted this scene in the anime just so it could be more of a question and give more credence to the Sarada and Boruto shippers out there and pretty much make their days. But it was just so kind of disappointing for me, even though I think that Sarada's gonna end up with Kawaki, that the scene just was not in there. Now of course I don't necessarily blame them or anything like that, mainly because it wasn't really a big point in the episode. Of course the overall point is going to be Boruto versus the mujina bandits, so I can't necessarily blame them for cutting it out, but still it was just a little bit disappointing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will agree with that as well. Now I talked about it a tiny bit in this episode already, but Team 7 was actually given a B rank mission. Now this right here was something absolutely insane, and I think it's for multiple reasons that they actually got the B rank mission. Of course, they're the strongest getting group in the Hidden Leaf, and of course if they probably need a getting group, they would have to call on Team 7 mainly because no one in Team 7 is a weak link. We understand that Mitsuki is extremely good, Sarada is extremely good with the Sharingan, Boruto in his own right is extremely good. He even defeated Momoshiki with the Rasengan, albeit that Naruto gave him, but it really just points out the respect level that Naruto, not only Naruto mainly because of course Naruto is Boruto's father, but everybody else in the village has for them. For Naruto to clear this with Shikamaru, that really says something about the respect level that everybody has for that current Team 7. And I just really like to applaud Team 7 and pretty much earning everybody's respect to go on a B rank mission. I mean, the first time that we seen a Genin go on a B rank mission in Naruto, which was Gaara, that right there was absolutely insane. Like, that pretty much made Gaara a certified OG in all of our eyes. We didn't even necessarily have to see Gaara fight. We automatically knew that he was going to be extremely good. And now for all of these characters in Team 7 to go on a B rank mission, that right there definitely says something. Now, during this episode, a lot of people are pointing out that during this episode, Boruto kind of seemed like Minato a little bit. Now, first things first, before I get into that, Boruto was an absolute assassin in this episode. He pretty much had the serious tone as I spoke about earlier in the video, but just overall the way he carried himself throughout this whole episode, it just really seemed super boss, and I really like that tone from Boruto. Hopefully you get to see that kind of Boruto a lot more in the future, but hey, you never know when we talk about the Boruto anime. Now, the scene that everybody's talking about that really reminded everybody of Minato is, of course, when Boruto snuck up behind that one rogue ninja from the Hidden Leaf Village and basically said, "Take me to the Mujina Bandits hideout." In that particular scene, just my opinion, I think they were obviously going for a parallel between Boruto and Minato. That right there was just overall a great level of nostalgia given in this episode. And I do want to point out, in Naruto Explained video, he pretty much explained this, no pun intended, to a T. So I highly recommend you guys go check out his review. But another scene that I really thought that made Boruto look a little bit like Minato, and it's really just off of the first one, it's when Boruto saved Tento from Shojoji. Now, during that particular scene, it's like Boruto was standing up and there was wind at Boruto's back and made his jacket like flow with the wind. Now, at that particular scene, I said, hey, that kind of seems like Minato. If you guys remember, that scene really reminded me of when Minato pulled up on Hidden Leaf Village when the Nine Tails was actually attacking. That was being controlled by Obito, of course. He was just looking away from the camera and then he was just flowing in the wind. Boruto looked exactly like that, and at that point I'm like, yo, who does Boruto think he is? Now, the last thing that I do want to talk about is the character of Shojoji. This right here is a very, very interesting character. Of course, the main cause of Shojoji is going to be the corpse clone jutsu, something that we have never really seen before in the anime of Boruto. I mean, in the anime of Naruto or Naruto Shippuden or even Boruto. And I'm pretty sure you guys know there's a lot of jutsu that's kind of similar to this, where you can kind of take the appearance of somebody else, but not necessarily to the perfection of the corpse clone jutsu. You take the guy's form, you know the guy's memories. Like, to this point, I don't even know if there's any real weaknesses to the corpse clone jutsu other than the fact that you have to actually eat the other guy's brain. And of course, that right there just adds a different level of seriousness to the whole anime of Boruto. I spoke about this a lot before in the past, but Boruto rarely kills off even the enemies, let alone the actual good people in the anime of Boruto. But over these past couple of episodes, it's like a lot of people are dying. In the last episode alone, we got to see the butler die. It's like every other episode in the past like 10 episodes of Boruto, someone actually died and someone's life is actually getting put in jeopardy. And I just absolutely love that about the serious tone about the whole series in general. Now, Shojoji in the next episode, of course, is going to be one of the most difficult people that Boruto did have to fight, of course, excluding all the Otsutsuki members that Boruto did fight. If you guys did recall, Shojoji was basically in the number two's body and using the number two's jutsus and things like that, but still you can kind of understand that that right there is probably a lesser version of Shojoji's full and true natural body. Now, in that particular fight, Boruto had the help of the rest of Team 7 plus, of course, the other fodder guy, and Boruto's team was in a world of trouble. Now, if we can possibly assume that the pure Shojoji is probably going to be stronger than that, Boruto is going to be in for a rude awakening in the next episode. Now, of course, because we know what's going to happen because it happened in the manga already, we should always have faith in Boruto. But still, it just seems like a very uphill battle that Boruto is going to have to fight, man, because Shojoji is just that strong of a character. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below, and give me your opinions about the multiple things that I did say in this episode. One of the first being is, of course, Boruto's decision about going on to save Tento and quote-unquote abandoning his team for the B-rank mission. And also, give me your opinions about what you guys thought about the Sarada scene and the changes that they did implement in the Boruto anime. But it's been your boy, Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.